G'day folks, here's my top 20 albums for 2024. G'day folks, Jeff here, welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing our top 20 albums of 2024. Now, this is a bit of fun really. I know some people aren't big fans of these, but I enjoy them, what the hell. So this is ranked like, 1 to 20, but yeah, it's not the most serious of rankings really. There's a batch that are just like, oh yeah, that's slightly better than that one maybe, I don't know. But so yeah, this list has no Aussie stuff in it because I did my Aussie ones separately, so check that video out. This is all types of metal. This isn't just death metal or just black metal or anything like that, so we'll do everything. Most of this stuff's probably already been shown in my collection updates because I've been buying quite a bit of stuff this year, you could say. But not all of it, actually, and there's a few things that haven't actually arrived yet, which is marginally irritating, but oh well, these things happen. At the end of the video, I'll list some honourable mentions, as well as kind of stuff I regret not buying yet that I know I'd probably enjoy, and also a big pile of nopes that just stuff that really didn't tickle my fancy, let's put it that way. So yeah, let's get into it. All right, number 20 is Concrete Winds with their self-titled album. This came out on Spectral Voice Records. Yeah, this is insanity stuff. This is crazy Black Death sort of stuff, pretty much. It's kind of like Angel Corpse meets Pissgrave sort of thing. Heap of just intense solos. The cover art really does fit the music. It's that crazy. You get what you expect with this. This is their third album. It does sound a bit better, I think. Less tinny, a bit more bassy than their previous albums. They do show some progression, and I'll put that in inverted commas because, yeah, it's it's still pretty ferocious stuff, that's for sure. Lots of those sliding sort of riffs, and it's just face-melting fast, really. What is it? Subterranean Distortion, I think, or Persuasion, maybe, is the... Yeah, it almost sounds normal with a kind of driving mid-paced riff, but yeah, then it's straight back into the intense... I wouldn't quite call it war metal, but it ain't that far off, really, I gotta say. It's just an all-out assault on the senses. This is essentially music for if the world was ending. This would be playing, I reckon. I also wrote down that this is tank driving music, so take that as you will. But yeah, number 20, Concrete Winds. Alright, number 19 is Postumus Regurgitation with The Coroner's Guide to Cadaveric Cuisine. This came out on Headsplit Records. These guys kind of straddle the border of, kind of death grind and gore grind. It's a bit of both, really. Kind of reminds me of, Disgorge, like Mexican Disgorge, Hemorrhage, General Surgery. Definitely a bit of Symphonies of Sickness, Carcass sort of style as well, and even the vocals are kind of raspy in parts. It kind of reminds me of good old Catasexual Urge Motivation. So all very good things to remind me of. That's why this is in this list. I've listened to this a ton. It's just perfect mix of kind of fast, catchy grind with just the occasional sort of groove to it as well. Really good deep sort of sound. I mean, it's like shifted vocals mostly, but it's got a really snappy sort of snare that kind of cuts through the murk. It's bloody excellent. There's a couple of crazed dive bomb sort of leads that are always, short and sweet, and I love them. I think it's Tomophobia has just this such drive and energy. The drummer is very bloody good on this. But then after that is Nurgle's Rot, which has just got the greatest mosh riff that put most Razorback bands to shame. It ends with a General Surgery cover from the first EP, Necrology, Grotesque Laceration of Mortified Flesh, which they certainly do damn fine tribute to. So honestly, this was topping my EPs list, but then I realised this is actually listed as an album. It's like 10 songs, 23 minutes long, but hey, so this is shorter than several of my EPs in that list, but at any rate, good on your Headsplit. This friggin' rules. This is Postumus Regurgitation. Number 18 is Abagore with Taphetonia Eternitatis. I think I got that right. This came out on WTC Productions. So yeah, this is Austrian black metal legends, been around for quite a while, since the early 90s. So but they've always kind of followed their own path, and it's no real difference here, that's for sure. It doesn't really sound like their old stuff by any means. I mean, they changed pretty dramatically, I don't know, quite a while ago, but there's a heap of variety on here, and despite all the changes, it still sounds just inherently evil. I think kind of Emperor is probably the only real comparison point for these guys, and there's like smidges in this that sounds like Emperor, but I think it's just the overall kind of feel and structure. It's not really direct rip-offs or anything, although Soldaten Satans has a pretty Emperor-y sounding riff in it, but other than that, like, they're really doing their own thing. I love on this the completely over-the-top vocals from Selenius. I think they also have female vocals on it, although you couldn't bloody tell. There's no notes on here whatsoever. It doesn't say where it was recorded, anything extra, guests or anything like that. The female vocals on, I think it's Cult of Elder Chaos, just gives me that really powerful, dramatic sort of ones. They're not sort of high-pitched or anything. They're just, I'm hoping it's not Selena doing those vocals, but anyway, they sound bloody good, whatever they are, and it actually reminds me of that classic Water Gives a Sigh bit on Holly's first album, I think, on Grey Blow. So yeah, there's a heap of songs on here, really varied in speed. This is dense bloody stuff. This will take you a while to digest if you are first starting on this one, that's for sure. Most of it's sort of mid to fast paced, but they speed up pretty dramatically on Extermination Angel and Burning Hell. But there's some weird songs on here. What's it called? Taurus Wilton Rise or something or other. I don't know. It's got like a Thorns feel in it, where this like cold industrial sounding slow chugger kind of riff reminds me of the first Thorns album, but then just goes like power metal almost, and it gets stuck in my mind all the time. Just these dramatic, clean male vocals. It sounds awesome. I don't know. It was very unexpected, that's for sure. But it sounds great. But yeah, this is not an easy listen by any means, but I kind of like it when bands sort of make you pay attention. Like, yeah, I mean, you could have this on in the background and you'd pick out bits and pieces, but it really does require a deeper listen, that's for sure. Yeah, so this is bloody killer, and yeah, also rest in peace to PK, who died this year, so sad times. I'm hoping they'll still continue. Well, I think TT's listed as doing guitar and bass on this as well as PK, so I'm guessing they'll continue, but who knows. But yeah, this freaking rules. Good old Abagore. Number 17 is Hemorrhoid with Raw Materials of Decay. This is Death Grind from Portland. This came out on Headsplit Records. Unsurprisingly, seeing the drummer is the main guy of Headsplit, so keep up the damn fine work, Dylan. Love your work. So yeah, Death Grind, not quite Gore Grind, despite the charming album cover, which is definitely a selling point, I gotta say. It totally made me check them out, and as soon as I listened to it on YouTube or somewhere, I was like, yeah, I'll be getting that. So yeah, it's not really Gore Grind. It's like minimal shifted vocals. It's mostly sort of deep growls, bit raspy, gory, splattery sort of stuff, and also some cool bits that always remind me of Kootabare, the legendary old Melbourne grind sort of band. So weird, gurgly, don't know what's going on, but I like it. Really good buzzy sort of guitar sound on this, and loud drums, which is always a winner for me. Heaps of tasty blasts. There's a few like Rick Ross dive bomb solos that, yeah, you can't go wrong with those. I think it's Rancid Rectal Rupture is probably my favourite on this, but I mean, they're all freaking great. That's just a corker of a song, and I think it's Sliced and Tucked is a killer groove, sort of slightly slower one, but yeah, this is not exactly a long album, that's for sure. Just, yeah, great death grind in the vein of, your Impetigo or Hemorrhage, and yeah, bloody good stuff. Couldn't resist that cover art as well, so awesome. All right, number 16 is Crypt Sermon with the Stygian Rose. This came out on Dark Descent Records. These guys are trad doom sort of thing from Philadelphia and Pennsylvania. Just nice mix of Solitude, Eternus, and Trouble, pretty much. I mean, also, obviously, some Candlemass, but yeah, this is their third album. Really, really hit the mark with me for this one. I really love the vibrant, sort of energetic drums, which is usually kind of muted in this sort of doom. Really killer solos that fit perfectly. It's got a really good gravelly sort of slightly husky, clean voice that, I don't know, works really well. Other than the production, this could easily be an album from the 80s. Like, there's even bits of sort of Merciful Fate or King Diamond, kind of reminds me of like Halloween. I think it's Scrying Orb is the slow doomy banger with just super catchy chorus. It's just masterful stuff, really. I was actually just watching Liam from Death Doom Metalheads, his top 20 albums, and which included this, unsurprisingly. And he pointed out that he doesn't have the second album, and I was sitting there all smug thinking, yeah, I've got that. And then I checked my Discogs and, for some reason I didn't buy it. I got like the demo and the first album, not the second album for some reason. So, yeah, okay. Oh well, this album rules. So, yeah, this is number 16, Crypt Sermon. Alright, number 15 is Broin with Harbinger of Woe. This came out on Season of Mist. This is just high energy brutality. Lovely. Honestly, I wasn't really the biggest fan of the kind of late 90s, early 2000s brutal death scene. It just seemed a bit kind of one-dimensional. Maybe I was too obsessed with Autopsy and Entombed sounding bands, which I still am, but you got to broaden your taste a bit. So I'm very glad I checked this out after a few mates recommended it. They still have like that slightly obvious sort of grind influence they've always had. The drums are just so energetic, so fast. I love it. This has probably got a smidge more variety with a bit of extra dynamics than usual, but it's still just brutal as buggery. I love it. Just nasty album. They're very wise and only do half-hour albums because, yeah, it's just the perfect length for this sort of stuff. Since I've been enjoying this so much, I've finally checked out Gorgasm, even though I had 4 albums on my hard drive. I'd never really listened to it, and I was like, oh yeah, that's pretty bloody good. I'll be getting some of those, I think. So, who knows? Maybe I might finally get around to checking out Discord's Californian version and, Deeds and all those sort of bands. So, yeah, I'm glad my tastes are expanding backwards a bit. Number 14 is Aberration with Demonolatry, which came out on Invictus Productions. This is just raging stuff. This is early sort of death metal style, even though it's brand new, of course. You really can't help but compare this to Morbid Angel because they're very similar, Brunel, Azagthoth sort of solos, and just, yeah, there's a lot of comparison points. They probably make those boys proud, I reckon. Also, of course, Angel Corpse, who also kind of worship at the Morbid Angel altar, obviously, and, Sadistic Intent, that sort of stuff. So it's, yeah, old sounding, but, yeah, super catchy. This gets stuck in my mind all the time. It's just raspy, hate-filled vocals. Drumming's a real highlight for me on this, with just lots of variety and just sheer power. It's bloody excellent stuff. I think it's the second song, I Apachik or something or other, is probably one of the highlights for me. It's such a ripper song with a not so subtle Chapel of Ghouls riff borrow. There's also a rather possessed sounding riff in there as well, which of course is another comparison point, seeing Morbid Angel worshipped at the altar of possessed. So I kind of put this in the same category as Hellbringers Awakened from the Abyss with their Absolute Slayer worship. I probably shouldn't put such a worshipy kind of album in a top 20, but this album friggin' rules. It's so good, so ferocious. And I mean, look at that. Look at the back of it. All these cool sigils, although for some reason that one reminds me of Pusheen or whatever that fat cat is, but anyway. Look at that cover art as well. Evil stuff. So yeah, this is just, as I said, raging, ferocious sort of stuff. It's highly recommended. Number 13 is Rotten Tomb with The Relief of Death. This came out on Nuclear Winter Records from Greece. So yeah, this is Chilean death metal, just thick as hell. This kind of sounds like slower Dead Congregation pretty much, with slightly less blasts but more sort of chugger riffs. But I mean, it's still furious as hell in a lot of parts, but not all of them like Dead Congregation. So just deep booming sort of vocals. It kind of reminds me of Glenn Benton back when he was good. So yeah, a while ago. I think it's "Let the Death Take Us" is probably my favourite song on here. It's just got doomy sort of leads and a slower sort of tempo, and I think it's what is it? "Psychopathic World" has the bass sounds cool on that. It's not always that noticeable, but for some reason it is on that. I think it's "In the Last Hours" has this sort of martial kind of slow feeling and just stays crushing the whole way through. There's some good classy solos on here, like lots of sort of, I don't know, peaking kind of ones, but lots of Rick Ross sort of style, but slightly less whammy. So, but yeah, damn good guitarist, that's for sure. Really superb production on this. It's just everything firing perfectly. Great thumping drums, just great levels. So I think the song, what is it? "Rumble for the Cult of Death." I think that should be my motto from now on, I think. So originally this came out on, what is it? Death Division Rituals, like a Chilean label, but which is not easy to get. So thankfully Nuclear Winter reprinted it. So it's been a good year for me for Rotten Tomb because, yeah, thanks again to Jason from Sphere of Aberration who threw in their previous album in as a freebie on one of my orders, and that blew me away. So 2024 was a good year for Rotten Tomb for me because they also reissued their Necropolis sort of EP as well. So, but yeah, this freaking good, just powerful dark death metal, really killer stuff. Number 12 is Spectral Voice with Sparagmos. This came out on Dark Descent. So yeah, second album from these Colorado boys. This is kind of sparser and slower than the previous album, which was a big favourite of mine, still is. This is kind of more languid, which I know is a bit of a wanker sort of word, but it kind of fits, I think, to this. Still plenty of your old disembowelment worship on this, as I think I mentioned in my collection update, but they've kind of moved on to Your Prophetic Throne of Ivory from, Burial at Ornan sort of style. So it's possibly also similar to later Evoken, just a bit more spacious and atmospheric. I kind of don't really agree. I've seen reviews where they mention it as sort of Black Death almost, or Blackened or whatever. Yeah, I don't really hear it. I mean, the vocals are kind of crazed and howling and so on. They're not just deep, growly vocals, but other than that, it doesn't sound very black to me. Yeah, it's still got the occasional blood incantation-y style bits in it, which is no surprise whatsoever. But and I think it's the second song. What is it? Red Feasts Condensed into One. It's possibly my favourite song on here. It's just got this cool interlude in the middle. It sounds like, I don't know, some Omen soundtrack or something or other with sinister sort of trumpets, and then it's, just this thunderous double bass sort of bit. Nice lead line, just, yeah, occasional kind of Bolzer almost sounding vocals on it, and yeah, just swampy, crushing slow riff. It's great stuff. So yeah, this is a bit doomier than the last album. I mean, the last album was pretty friggin' doom, but this one's even slower, I think, but pretty friggin' intense. I kind of didn't listen to this quite enough this year, I think. I put it back on to refamiliarise myself. This came out pretty bloody early, and was like, oh shit, why haven't I been listening to this every week? So yeah, killer death doom. Great stuff. Number 11 is Strychnos with Armageddon Patronage. This also came out on Dark Descent. I think they might be winning the count at the moment. Yeah, this is a Danish band, just moody, really moody, atmospheric, sort of, I don't know, kind of black and death metal, but it's not your super blasty sort of stuff. There's a lot of slower sort of riffs on this. I mean, it's still pretty fast at times, but just a great combination of kind of restraint and then chaos. But yeah, the atmosphere on this is just, I don't know. It's kind of like how scary those dudes are. I mean, it seems to be about the end of the world, pretty much, Armageddon sort of side of things. I don't know, it kind of reminds me of the catchiness that you get from like Watain or Bolzer even. Like there's moments of Bolzer on this. Like, another mention for those boys. Yeah, just the hoarse sort of vocal style and a bit of riffing here and there. I really like it's just got a really pensive, moody sort of atmosphere. It's really full on in parts, but just this overall sense of gloom to it that I really like. They even have the singer of Volbeat, who I think used to be in metal bands, but does like clean bit on this. It works really bloody well. Really solemn sort of style, very smooth. I really like, what is it? Endless Void Dimension is just slower, brooding one, just one of the highlights for me. So, yeah, I got to thank Simon from Explosive Action for hassling me nonstop to buy this, and also that Aberration album as well. So, yeah, he's a persuasive chap. Thanks, mate. But yeah, it did take me a couple of listens for it to really sink in, but I'm very glad it did, because yeah, these guys rip. Number 10 is Mother of Graves with the Periapt of Absence. This came out on Profound Law Records. This is melodic death doom from Indiana. As you may have gathered, this only came out in I don't know, mid-October or something or other. I'm not too worried about albums that only just came out. There is one that I skipped that I'll mention afterwards, because it really only did just come out like a week ago. But this one I've listened to a number of times, and as I said in my, I think, November collection update, why did no one tell me this is just catatonia worship? Because that's pretty much the main crux of this, is just Brave Murder Day, Dance of December Soul sort of style. Which is some of my favourite music, so is this now. That is bloody killer. Especially, I think it's Shatter the Visage is very catatonia. Just similar drumming, similar sort of lead work, vocals as well. There's a lot of it. I mean, there's even, I think it's, what is it, the Scarlet Threadany or whatever sounds like one of the mellow ones like Day or Rain Room, or I don't know. I can never remember which song's which on Brave Murder Day, but yeah, one of the croony songs. This does have more keyboards and catatonia, and I mean they do bring their own to it. It's not just complete worship. They do bring a lot of their own sort of writing to it as well, but there's even like My Dying Bride sounding bits, so I think it's probably the violin-y sort of bit that's on it, and this kind of spoken word gloomy sort of sections gave me that My Dying Bride sort of feel. But yeah, what is it, Apparition, I think. It brings the real slow stuff for a time. Has a nice sort of piano bit in it as well, so yeah, this album I've listened to a heap, I've got to say. As soon as I discovered how good it was, I was like, oh yeah, I might just listen to that again, I think. So yeah, it's possibly a bit too derivative to be in the top 20, much like the Aberration one, and I did leave that Neon Nightmare album off because it was just too typo negative. But this, they had enough of their own to this, I reckon. It's I love a good tribute, and especially Catatonia, because they really are one of my favourite bands, and yeah, this friggin' rules. Just killer melodic death doom, love it. Number 9 is Morgbreath with Plagus in Rostro. This came out on Behind the Mountain, but as you can see, yeah, it hasn't arrived yet. I did order this a while ago, so I was kind of hoping it might get here in time for this, but I guess no, it'll probably arrive tomorrow, knowing my luck. So yeah, this is US kind of death grind from LA. Originally it was just Ivo, the main guy, on everything, but now he's got Emmy on bass and Isaac on drums. So yeah, this is pretty much flat out death grind, sort of very terrorizer or excruciating terror sort of style, but the main comparison, I think, is Machetezo, Spanish Legends, and actually this album, their best, I reckon, Trono de Huesos, which is absolute masterpiece. And if you're gonna be influenced by a grind album, that's bloody one of the good ones to do it. And I mean, they even cover Attack Simio from that album and do it faster somehow. So yeah, this is just killer fast grind, such an energy to it, just fast as hell, but so many catchy riffs. It's just riff central. I love it. Really killer gruff vocals as well, and just blast galore. I think this is Isaac from like Sulphuric Cautery and Lurid Panacea and so on, and a number of other bands as well. I like his drum sound on here better than Sulphuric. I don't know if he's got a different snare or something, but I don't know, it just sounds a bit normaler here. It's a bit pingy sometimes in Sulphuric Cautery for my liking, but yeah, this is it's just unrelenting but highly addictive. I don't know, I mean, I love grind, as you know, but this one is I'll play it again straight away, right after it. I don't care. It's not particularly long. It's probably like 25 minutes at most. It does have a weird sort of song towards the end. I think the second last song, which I'm not going to read out, it's like a kind of slower piece with like keyboards and I don't know. It reminds me of Cradle of Filth almost. So I think he's been listening to Christoph too long, maybe. But yeah, everything on this is just super tight, just catchy as hell. Short. Most of the songs are, like a minute 20 plus, sort of, if that sort of thing. It's just unrelenting, but just catchy as hell. So much fun. So yeah, if you want I didn't actually note that many grind albums this year that really quite grabbed me, but this one sure as shit did. So yeah, Morgoth, definitely check them out. All right, number 8 is Aicum Triste with Hortus Venenum. This came out on Transcending Obscurity, and again, as you can see, it's in the mail. And yeah, I did only order this a week or two ago, so I'm not expecting it to arrive tomorrow. But yeah, this is a kind of late one that I came to. This is a Dutch kind of melodic death doom, or they could possibly be funeral doom, but I don't think they're quite slow enough or regularly slow enough for that. At any rate, whatever they are, is freaking killer. Yeah, I came to this kind of late. I don't remember seeing that many people talking about it, but maybe it just popped up on YouTube sometime when I was browsing. But yeah, it blew me away. This is killer stuff. And this is a band I own nothing of currently, yet some reason this suckers me in every single time I start it. I'm like, oh yeah, maybe I'll just continue to listen to this. So yeah, it's very much your Paradise Lost sort of style, and also Catatonia, Brave Murder Day kind of lead guitar bits are all the way through it. I think it's behind closed door. Once it kicks in, I'm just like, yeah, I'm sold. This is friggin' rules. Honestly, it's really not anything new, but it's just done really bloody well. Very morose and depressing sort of stuff. The leads themselves, though, are like slow and kind of soaring and kind of a bit uplifting, if anything. Like, I don't know. This is the sort of thing that if you're in a really bad mood, it might make it worse, but you never know, it might make it better. Really long, great, sort of drawn out, deep sort of vocals that very powerful sort of style, and really majestic keyboards. I think majestic's probably the key word with this band. It's just, I don't know, really great stuff. Honestly, I much prefer this to the new My Dying Bride. That's not in this list. And yeah, these guys have been around forever. This is like their, 8th album or something or other. They've been around for some time. So this is kind of what experience can bring you. It's just evocative, interesting death doom. Right up my alley. I can't get enough of this album. All right, number 7 is Black Curse with Burning in Celestial Poison. This came out on Spectral Voice Records. Yeah, this is intense bloody stuff. I love the wildness of this. It's just all over the place. But so yeah, this is members of Spectral Voice, Primitive Man, and Chemist. Doesn't really sound like any of those bands particularly. Nah, not really. It's kind of a strange mix of almost war metal with like sludgy doom sort of stuff as well. So it really is very varied. Occasionally the vocals remind me of Cult to Ghouls, which is a very good comparison because I love that band. Just sort of really crazed over weird sort of riffs. This is tight as hell though, and the drumming is friggin' intense. I didn't realize this guy was that good a drummer. It's very good. It's not all blasting. I mean, there's a lot of blasting, don't get me wrong, but there are some damn fine groovy bits and also just, sludgy, horrible, doomy bits as well. But I really like the variety on this. It's a great combination of ones. It's kind of catchy war metal, which is really not a common thing to come across, I find. A lot of war metal can be just a bit too one-dimensional for my liking, but this has got enough variety to it to spice it up a bit. This is just vicious and just tough as hell. It's really very tough, this album. Very intense. I love it. Number 6 is Zaclese with House of the Black Geminis. This came out on Debamore Morty Productions. Yeah, this is US black metal. The bloke from Bestial Arcana and Nightbringer. Yeah, this is just nightmarish, frantic black metal. maximalist, you could say. That's my note for it, which makes a lot of sense because it's intense bloody stuff. This is very much your well-produced black metal, not your, podgy black and white photocopy album cover sort of style, which, as you can kind of tell, is not really my favourite style. I like reasonably produced stuff so you can at least hear everything. But yeah, this is just fast. Even when there's slower riffs and there's like just double bass, it's still fast as hell. Although actually it takes about 4 minutes to get started on the first song, but when it kicks in, oh Jesus, there's just like swirling lead lines everywhere. It's just very layered, dense sort of sound. Occasionally it reminds me of Thorns. It might just be the slightly sort of industrial elements to it. What is it? Maze of... very dark. I'm not going to bother opening this up, but I really like that cover. Title. There are a few bits of breathing room in here every once in a while, but yeah, most of it's just very intense, pretty long songs. I think it's Sister Silence, Brother Sleep's probably my favourite on here. But Through the Abyssal Door is another killer one that has a bit of an Emperor sort of feel to it. I didn't actually notice the Emperor's influence much until a couple of listens in, I think, and then I was like, oh yeah, that does sound familiar. But yeah, just lots of build-up. I'm kind of spewing these guys didn't get to tour a year or two ago, so I'm hoping they might get their way out here at some stage. But yeah, this is friggin' killer black metal. Oh, yeah, Aclis, bloody awesome. Number 5 is Viscera Infest with Teratoma. I'm going to put the censored version of this album cover up. I'm not actually sure what's going on it. It's a bit strange. Doesn't look real, but who knows. I did get in trouble with YouTube for my Gore Grind video, which, I may re-edit and put up at some stage, but possibly not. There was a few bit rude album covers in that one, so... Anyway, back to Viscera Infest. This guy's Japanese, kind of death grind, gore grind, never quite sure exactly what they could be classified as. Disgorge style, that's for sure. Just bloody intense stuff though, really high energy sort of stuff. Love these guys since the demo days when old mate Paulo forced it on us. They're just sheer power. It's beautiful. There's great ability to change from sort of slow chunky riffs to just high speed insanity just on the drop of a hat. It's beautiful stuff. This does have more slower riffs than their previous albums that also have bad covers, so I'm not showing them. But yeah, don't let that fool you. It's still fast as hell, and this drummer is very bloody fast. He's a quick lad, that's for sure. He's just got this... he was great live, but has this great ability to do really brief little solos and then just kick straight back in with such brutality. It's beautiful. Vocals on this are just... lots of gurgly, weird sort of ones, as well as does these weird high-pitched sort of squeaks. I don't know if they're Antimo sort of style from first Disgorge album maybe, but yeah. But overall, I like the chunky riffing on this is increased, which is a good thing, I think. It's similar style to usual, but they are trying a few new things out, which is good. And as I think I said in my previous review of it, the sound is a lot better on this. It's the previous ones were a bit thin. They only had 2 guitarists. They didn't have a bass player. So now it's a bit chunkier. I like it. And yeah, there's even a further nod to old mate's Disgorge with a cover at the end of, what's the song called? Gore Massacre Perversity. I love it. So yeah, it's just really high energy, which is the thing that I love about it. It's got weird samples. I don't know where the hell they're from. It sounds like some old movie from the 30s or something. I'm not sure what's going on, as well as some ones in Japanese that are probably perverted sick as hell, but I don't understand them at least. This is just very intense. I love it. It's beautiful. Viscera Infest. Number 4 is Blood Incantation with Absolute Elsewhere. This came out on Century Media. Yeah, you probably recognise these guys, possibly. They've been talked about quite a bit. It's their third album, although I don't know if that mellow one is considered an album or an EP, but anyway, the third full metal album. This actually reminds me quite a lot of Morbid Angel's Formulas Fatal to the Flesh, which is a good thing in my book. I love that album. It's probably my second or third favourite, Morbid Angel one. Also a bit of the old, Lycothera Flame sort of bits, which is, again, fine by me. Honestly, I still prefer Star Spawn over this, but this is a masterpiece still. But Star Spawn's even more of a masterpiece in my book. But because on this they really do successfully merge the mellow with the death metal. It's so well done, and the drumming as well on this is friggin' killer. I don't think their drummer gets anywhere near enough props. Everyone's like, oh, look, there's Pink Floyd solos and stuff, but the drummer is going off the whole bloody time. He's got a really good organic sort of drum sound on this as well. They do a lot of solos, as you know, but I'm not always a big solo fan, but these guys just do it really well, and sort of, kind of like Nocturnus if they actually wrote interesting music, but again, massive amount of riffs in this. There's a lot going on. I mean, as you know, there's 2 songs, although they're kind of split up into 3 parts each one. It's just so smoothly done. It's beautiful. Occasionally there's like mellow bits. I think it's the second part of the Stargate. I've kind of almost forgot. It's like a totally mellow bit. It's not Pink Floydy stuff, just I thought I was listening to Opeth for a second there, and then I'm like, oh, that's right, it's bloody Incantation, but it's not a bad thing by any means. But I think it's part 3 of the Stargate is probably my favourite bit on here. It's just got a formula sort of mega riff in it, keyboards and just cool tribal drumming-y bit, and just everything going on at once. It's beautiful stuff. They really do end both of these songs really, with quite hefty climaxes. They do it so well, and I think it's the message part 1 that I really love. There's like a kind of chugger riff that speeds up heaps and slows down, and the drummer sort of plays around it so well. It's really bloody well done. And again, the message also builds up to a pretty cool ending. So honestly, the hype of this is justified. This is a friggin' killer album. Bloody awesome. All right, number 3 is Thou with Umbilical. This came out on Sacred Bones Records. This is sludge metal from Louisiana. These guys have only been around for not even 20 years, I don't think, and they got like 6 albums and a ton of EPs and collaborations and all sorts of stuff. So they're pretty epic in their output, that's for sure. I love this album. This is probably my favourite of theirs now, I think. I still love all the other ones, but this one, it's still got that southern groove, but with a harsh sort of edge. But this one's faster, punchier, just as I think I said in my review, it just goes straight for the throat and really does not let up. It's a bit faster than usual, and there's some differing kind of songs on there. I think for some reason people seem to name drop Nirvana, as I'm assuming they're talking about The Promise, which is a pretty catchy sort of song. But I saw Nirvana in 92. They didn't sound like abrasive sludge to me, that's for sure. If anything, this, maybe a bit of Alice in Chains or something influence, that sort of stuff. Soundgarden maybe, but not Nirvana. But anyway, this. But I think it is The Promise is the really groovy sort of one, really catchy sort of chorus. It's so bloody good. But the whole thing is just very in your face, but enjoyable in your face. I like that they're screaming, it's time to die, so die at me. It's, don't know about the album cover particularly. It's pretty bleak, that's for sure. I assume that's what they're going for. Child holding flowers for a funeral, possibly. Who knows? They do have a song called I Feel Nothing When You Cry, so that's a ramming speed, crushing all kind of song as well. That whole thing rules. It doesn't hurt that I saw these guys live this year and they are amazing. So, but even before that, I was in love with this album. So, this is A-grade sludge. That's for bloody sure. All right, number 2 is Cosmic Putrefaction with Emerald Fires Atop the Farewell Mountains. It's come out on Profound Law. This is, Italian kind of one-man death metal, although he's got a session drummer here. I don't know, I just keep listening to this album over and over. I haven't even had this that long, but some reason it just worked its way in. Something fierce. I love this bloody thing. So it's sort of, it does have a bit of the weird Fin Death sort of style. I mean, this is very full-on death metal, but it's a very twisty and turny and changey. Cathellus is probably a reasonable comparison. It's kind of like a slightly more tech, less dreamy Blood Incantation. Plus, your old Gorguts, those sort of bands. There's a lot going on. There's constantly changing. I don't know. Usually I don't really like this sort of music, but this one just clicked perfectly with me. I don't know what it is. So many layers, but it just sounds so natural, not forced at all. As I think I said in my review, the bass is really powerful and just right in your face, but perfectly mixed as well. Like, I don't know, it just sounds amazing. I mean, I think the main guy behind this band is a producer as well, so he knows what he's doing. But yeah, the session drummer he's got in here is superbly good, so smooth, doing always interesting stuff. It just, really adds another level to it. Really classy, smooth solos, minimal but kind of effective use of keyboards. There's some clean vocals on the last song, which I think is a guest as well. They fit perfectly. I don't know. Not always a big fan of clean vocals on death metal, but here it just works perfectly. I'm kind of surprised he didn't use it more on the other songs. I mean, this is like their fourth album, so he's been putting them out because I don't think they've been going very long. He's got various other bands that I haven't actually checked out yet that I'm looking forward to. I think it's, what is it, Eudemonist, Withdrawal. The third song is just insane change after change, but such perfect flow to it. It's I don't know how he does it. And look at that cover art, beautiful stuff. So yeah, every time I put this on, I kind of wonder, should this really be number 2? But then when I get to the end of it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's number 2. I am tempted to listen to this again in its entirety straight away afterwards. This is amazing bloody stuff. So yeah, this just beats Blood Incantation for me. Sorry, boys, but yeah, this rules. Alright, my number 1 album of the year is Stench, with purulence gushing from the coffin. This came out on Masako Anoho, and again, this has not arrived yet. I mean, this only came out like 6 weeks ago, so a bit ridiculous that this is my number 1, but yeah, I love this bloody album. So yeah, Mexican death metal, heaps of doom elements. You could probably almost call it death doom, but I don't care. It's horrible, sludgy death metal. It's beautiful stuff. This is a one-man band. Adrian from Impending Rot's the guy behind it. I loved this EP, which, again, Simon from Explosive Action forced me to buy. Thanks, mate. And yeah, the second this new one started, like the digital version of it, I was like, oh yeah, that's in the top 20 at least. And then yeah, just kept listening and listening. This is just perfect, filthy detuned sound, just heaps of caveman groove, sort of, a la Undergang or Mortician sort of thing. But also, hints of the gods of super heavy like Ripiculo and Crypt of Kerberos, the demo sort of era. And there's some evil, classy sounding sort of, Finnish lead lines. I think it's some real wonky, weird sort of solos. I think it's Worm Ridden Torso. So it's got this, I don't know what the hell it is, sort of lead riff going on under it. It's odd, but fits so perfectly. Really good use of double bass. It's like not super fast. I don't know if this is programmed drums or just normal a drummer, but yeah, it's not noticeable for me at any rate as a basic punter. But yeah, the double bass, it's not hyper speed, so it just gives it just that bit more oomph, which I love. There's even a bit of D-beat fun on, Mucus, Phlegm and Bile, classy song. And yeah, D-beat, that D-tune just sounds super tough. I just love it. I think my favourite song's Death Maniacal Obsession. Just has this mega riff and it's so good. Just horrible swagger to it. It's beautiful stuff. Just crushing groove. This is definitely not the classiest, the best played, the best written, but yeah, this is my favourite. I love this bloody album. I can't wait for it to actually arrive. The reason why it hasn't arrived yet is because I ordered it straight from Masako. And they sent them out, and I could buy it from several Australian shops for the last month, but I ordered the pink one because it has this somewhat ridiculous album cover, which I do quite like. So yeah, there's a pink vinyl version which had some drama with the pressing plant, so that's why Troll Cave hadn't arrived in my EP's video, because that's in the same package, unfortunately. So hopefully that'll get here soon, because yeah, good old stench. So yeah, there's a CD version from Extremely Rotten Productions, and I think Head Split Records put the tape out as well. So get any format, because this album just rules. This is total caveman death metal, but as you know, that's one of my very, very favourite styles. So yeah, I love this bloody album. Just horrid stuff. Beautiful. All right, so on to the honourable mentions. First one I'll mention is Moondark, their new album, The Abysmal Womb. This actually came out like a week ago or something, so I have actually listened to it like 8 or 9 times, and it is bloody awesome. It's Swedish death metal. I have ordered it, so it hasn't arrived yet, obviously. I was tempted to throw it in. I was going to bump Concrete Winds out, but yeah, I like that Concrete Winds album as well. So I suspect Moondark, if I'd had it for longer than a week and a half or whatever, would be higher on the list, that's for sure. So yeah, that one, I look forward to getting a proper version of that. But other honourable mentions is Hokkaido Grind Time. It's just super fast, gore grindy sort of stuff. Beautiful, silly manga sort of stuff, but or anime is beautiful stuff. Putridarium, just horrible death metal, it's beautiful stuff. I quite enjoyed that. That could have been on the list, but yeah, I didn't quite get there. This Severus album friggin' ruled as well. It's a sort of, I don't know, kind of death doomy sort of stuff. Should have listened to this more, I've got to say. There's also, I think it's Mortuary Ghoul, their new album Norman, hasn't arrived yet, but I've listened to it a few times. It sounds bloody nice. I really quite enjoyed this Crucifier record that, yeah, again, I got earlier in the year and don't remember the last time I listened to it, so that's a bit of a mistake. This Mitochondrion album is not has not sunk in. As I said in my review, or in my collection update, the last one, the November one, it's a very dense album. I mean, it's like 85 minutes long as well. So yeah, I really still don't feel confident talking about that, and probably won't for another 10 or so listens. But yeah, lastly, New Wormed, this friggin' rules as well. I should have listened to this more often as well. I don't know why I didn't. So, but yeah, that's the honourable mentions. It's a good batch of stuff I'm looking forward to next year, but the main ones that I'm really keen on are Franelith, the Danish death metal band. They get a new album coming out January or February, one of those two. The new Funebrarum, sorry. It was supposed to come out this year and didn't, so yeah, I don't know what's happening there, but hopefully that'll come out next year at some stage. And Eternal Darkness as well, just announced they're doing an album for first time in some time, so I'm very much looking forward to that. So yeah, that should be killer. And let me just scroll through my notes all the way down to all the stuff that didn't really grab me. Oh yeah, there's a list of stuff that I regret that I didn't buy, so because then I probably would have listened to it more. That Engulfed album, I'll put a picture of it up. Unearthly Litanies of Despair. Yeah, it's another one that Simon just rammed into me, but I do quite enjoy it. I've listened to it a batch of times, but I think if I had it on record, I'd probably listen to it more. The new My Dying Bride did sound pretty good, but yeah, it was a bit better than the last album, which I did buy, so I probably should have bought Mortal Binding, but oh well. That Spectral Wound album, I've tried multiple times. I should listen to it more, I think. It sounds like I should like it, that's for sure. There's that Time Voss album that just seems impossible to get, so yeah, it's like a British death metal-y sort of band of some variety, maybe Scottish, I can't remember, one of those. That Zompantly album, Beating the Drums of Ancestral Force, I have listened to it a few times. I probably should have bought that one. I've got their first album. I think his other band, what's his other band? Zabalba are touring in a month or two, so I might go check them out again. The new Deceased, I still haven't bought that, so I probably should grab that one. That Pallbearer album really didn't grab me on the first listen, but it's sort of slowly working on me a bit, I think. Several mates are big fans of it, so maybe I should give that more of a try, but for some reason didn't buy that. I bought every other Pallbearer thing I could ever find, but not the new one. New Resin Tomb album I didn't manage to track down for some weird reason, even though they're Aussie. One album that I do actually have coming in the mail rather rapidly, and probably if I listened to it more could have worked its way into the top 20, is that Slime Lord album, which I'm not going to pretend that I can pronounce that. So that is on its way from, I think I got that from Black Sound. So, and also that Wrathprayer album sounds pretty freaking killer on the one or two listens that I've had of that, so I might try and track that one down. So yeah, that's the stuff that could have been on this list, but yeah, didn't quite get there, I think. But the nope section, which is the ones that just really didn't do much for me, and they did much for a lot of other people. I've seen them on a heap of lists. That Fulci album, Fulci just don't mesh with me for some reason. I don't know why. It's like decentish death metal. It's not. I mean, it's not terrible by any means. The rap song's not great, but I don't know. The best thing about that for me is the album cover. That's the highlight. Gatecreeper still really haven't grabbed me. I probably should have gone and seen them live, in April or whenever that was. It might have sold me a bit more, but yeah. That Necrod album really doesn't do a huge amount for me, I gotta say. Neither do any of their albums. I don't know why. Again, heaps of people love that, and it's top or, pretty high up on people's lists. That Rotting Christ album, got one listen. No, sorry. Witch Vomit, another band that I have a lot of their previous stuff, but this one just seemed to have changed style a bit. I don't know, it wasn't as horrible and sludgy as their previous ones, so I should probably give that another try, but oh well. New Opeth, I gave it one listen. That'll do. Let's just put it that way. New Deicide, no, not at all. I'd much rather listen to the new Coffin Curse album, which actually that should be in my honourable mentions. It's a friggin' killer album as well. That Coffin's album, Sinister Oath, actually that probably should be in my honourable mentions. That was pretty damn decent, but just one of those things that I got earlier in the year and haven't listened to since for some weird reason. That Ulcerate album, Cutting the Throat of God, great album name, but they just don't really mesh with me, that band. I've seen them live once or twice, and it was just kind of a wall of what the hell's going on. And again, that Neon Nightmare one, it was just too derivative of Typo Negative. It was a fun first listen. I'm just like, what the hell? But it just was like the not so good parts of Typo Negative, or just not well written enough for my liking. It sounded like Typo Negative, don't get me wrong. It's exactly what they were going for. It just wasn't catchy enough, really. It was weird. So yeah, that's my list of didn't really do it for me once. Always fun doing those sort of ones. But anyway, that's my top 20 albums of the year. So yeah, I don't know what my next video will be. Actually, it'll probably be a December collection update because there's a lot down there. So yeah, I'll see you again then. So enjoy. See ya.